Wait, are we going? Hello. Hi. This is um the Backline News Hour via the Internet Broadcasting System. Um, so welcome to IBS. Uh, Today we're joined by lots of experts who are going to be giving us updates on what's going on in the world. We've got later we'll be hearing from a panel of experts. So if you have any questions that you need answered, like start throwing them out there. Um, but to get started, if you are interested in helping support the backline, go ahead and go to patreon.com/backline comedy. Also, if you're watching this not via Twitch, the Twitch chat is where we're going to be connecting with you guys from. So go to twitch.tv/backline. You can also support the backline by going to Venmo at the backline or PayPal, backlineimprov@gmail.com. I think that's all of the housekeeping stuff. So hello, my name is Robin, and I'm going to be hosting this live news show. And to get started, we have an expert joining us all the way from New Jersey. So he's an expert on something. I can't get my Twitch to work, so we're just gonna randomize it. But
that's fine.
Yeah, let's see. Here we go. Oh, the 20th.
Hi, my name is Price, and I am coming to you from an undisclosed location in central New Jersey. I might be disclosing too much. But anyways, thanks for coming to my webinar. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the 20th century, a century that recently ended. Not that recently, I guess it's been 20 years. Whew, all right. Well, let's get into it. So can I get to, yes, the first slide. A little bit about me. So I've been called Professor Clean. And that's kind of my whole approach is I want to take a really clean look, just, the facts, a real objective history about the 20th century. Just going to touch on a little of everything today. I have 21 years of experience in package and freight delivery. An industry that expanded greatly during the 20th century and is, in a lot of ways, it's the defining industry of the 20th century. I lived in Dothan, Alabama, which is, it was a very important town in the 20th century. I'm just going to say the century from now on. I assume everyone knows that I'm talking about the 20th century, to save a little time. And I've also been given the nickname the Duke of Stuckism International. It's a little joke because some people like to say I'm stuck in the century. All right, if we could get to the next slide, that would be great. Sure. So my promise for this slideshow is I'm going to orchestrate the content for you, and I'm going to dramatically scale it. So what that means is there's a lot of drama. If you look at the 20th century as a whole, like, we got 2 world wars. The 80s happened. It's very dramatic from that view. But then if you zoom way, way, way in on, like, I don't know, July 1961, something like the Cuban Missile Crisis, you might find within 10 years of the time I said. Okay, next slide, please. So one of the biggest changes of the 20th century was in the Congress of the United States. Really, the 20th century can be effectively split into before and after, based on one huge event in Congress, which was 1993. Bill Clinton had just become president. And I know you're thinking this is a little late to split the century in 1993. Full 93% of it happened before, 7% after. But to me, from my perspective, from my town in Alabama, it seems like the most impactful thing that happened is when Bill Clinton, the Bill Clinton McDonald's sketch aired on SNL. And that kind of Congress really there was a lot of backlash there. I don't want to get into it too much. I'm sure you all remember. Anyways, but boldly packing a lot into one very long sentence is what I'm doing here. So, yeah, the giver was, of course, Bill Clinton's nickname. Yeah, a lot happened in 1993. Okay, next slide, please. Ah, so a lot of people look at the century and they think, how do we avoid another war? How do we disarm from this nuclear world we found ourselves in where we're all on the brink of destruction? I like to focus on a small detail, a little question that I find very important, which is how in the hell do you stop leaving lip marks on drinking glasses? In the 90s, drinking glasses were often like made of crystal. That was a big trend. You know, they have the rim where you can make the noise on it. But they were crazy with lip marks. Like you'd put them through the dishwasher 10, 12 times, high heat, could put it on the sanitized cycle, but those lip marks would still be there. Well, here in the 21st century, a century I don't like to talk about as much, but we have figured out how to stop leaving lip marks on drinking glasses. So just, yeah, a lot of people wouldn't think of it, but that was one of the big pains of the 20th century. Could we move on to the next slide, please? Sure, Milk and Honey, the debut album of Lawrence Heisey. This is truly the defining sound, I think, of the century. And I mean, it'd be tough to find someone who doesn't agree with that statement. I think, yeah, Milk and Honey. So Lawrence Heisey kind of turned this into a bit of a concept album. The Milk is really the first half of the 20th century's music. You know, a lot of old timey music is the name of the genre, and Honey is, of course, the later half, sort of a fusion between like rock and roll, hip hop, electronic pop music, sort of all mashed into one. That's what Lawrence Heisey was foreseeing with the Honey in his smash hit album Milk and Honey. So yeah, it's just one of the touchstones of the century. If we could move on, please. Finally, the Four Seasons. So this is an interesting question, and the responses have changed dramatically from the century to the 21st century. So what book in the Bible would you recommend to someone reading it for the first time, and why? Now, today you could ask this question. I think you'd get a lot of people reaching for maybe some of the more feel-good books of the Bible. You know, the Gospels, Song of Solomon, really just a good fuck jam. In the 90s, and sorry, the century, not just the 90s, people were a lot more straightforward. Overwhelmingly, the answer was Genesis. Just, you know, start at the beginning. And that kind of sums up, I think, the whole attitude of the 20th century. It's very, you know, straightforward. Let's get things done. Start at the start, end at the end. Hell yeah, baby. All right. And if we could move on, I think that's it. For me, I do have time for like one question from the field if anybody has any.
Yeah, Price, we had a question that came in. So is all music that's pre 1993 old timey?
Um, I would put the dividing line at like 1987 probably. But yeah, old timey music is kind of a catch-all term for what happened
Do you have a
before.
favorite old timey song?
Oh, I sure do. Heart of Glass by Blondie. That's my favorite old timey song.
Classic. Thank you so much, Price.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Excellent. Well, that was Price, our expert on the 20th century, on the run from the government, so he's not disclosing his current location. But the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be sharing a documentary with you about what's been going on in the world while we've all been quarantined. So, what I need to know is, to all of our people watching on Twitch right now, all 14 of you. While we were all quarantined inside our homes, what else happened in the world outside? So just go ahead and put that in the chat, and we'll see a documentary about those questions. We just have a lot of documentaries, so this way we can decide which one we want to share with you. And while we are waiting for that to happen, if you are watching not on Twitch, you can go to twitch.tv/backline so you can participate in our chats. You can also visit us on patreon.com/backline comedy to support the Backline Comedy Theater. And again, my name is Robin, and I'm hosting this live news updates from the Backline News Hour via the IBS Internet Broadcasting System. All right, so if you're watching, you need to comment. Come on, people. What are you doing? Give us something. Oh, goats in gangs. Oh, or cement. Those were the things we were told. So I'm gonna pass this off to our experts who can take goats in gangs and or cement.
Well, quarantine was pretty rough on us. What made things bizarre was when there was no one outside, goats came in and filled up the streets. They've been living surprisingly very well off of our trash. I'd say they're in herds, or they feel like gangs, really. They're very menacing. They come through with a cry that just sounds like the terror of children as they come in to your town. When they roll up onto your block, it's a little intimidating. You can hear the.
How am I an expert on goats? You're asking? Oh, well. I've been in my house for 2 weeks from the coronavirus, bored out of my mind, and just looked out my back window one day, and there's this herd of goats all carrying knives. And I was so shocked immediately. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I stayed in the house. I'm not about to get stabbed by some goats, right? But slowly, I did that thing like you do with baby deer. You leave them food. They creep closer. They gain trust. You get in their good graces. So now I am the leader of one of the roaming gangs of goats.
It's been pretty good. Like a lot of Americans, obviously, I found myself out of work in the weeks leading up to and after the coronavirus. So I was pretty excited to find my people, as it were. Big Barnyard Blue. I'm starting at the bottom. They beat the hell out of me to get in, but I'm feeling like a few more beatings and they're going to accept me. I've lost a lot to them. They'll eat the clothes right off your back, but I'm just going to keep going for it. The big one, he really doesn't like me, but I think that's how you start with any boss, and eventually, if I can get him to look me in the eye and not bludgeon me with his horns, then I'll be good. I'm sorry, I'm very concussed.
I can hear them outside my window. I fear they're approaching. I'm not quite set on having a goat tell me what to do. Surely I've got some way to fend myself off. I've heard reports of people joining their gang. I don't know. I'm sort of a sheep. If I were to really say I'm part of anything. So I guess if everyone else does it, I'd probably go along and be a goat. I hope for the best, I guess. Oh dear Lord. If you know anybody who has advice and they can get the word out here in Omaha, they're right outside my window.
It's a little dark out at the moment. Oh, they're hard to see. Let me see if I can find some light down here. Oh. So I got the shirt off, and I'm hoping if I wave it about a bit, I can bring some of them over. It's this is about my last shirt, so my last blue shirt. They didn't like the red or yellow ones. And there's so many colors now. Honestly, I don't know if goats have more of those pistons in their eyes so they can see colors better, but they're particular. They're very particular about what they'll eat or what they'll beat you for and then eat. Right over here is where I saw my first goat. He was beautiful. Big beard, big bearded face. And he was like my dad's face, a lot like my dad's face. He respected me like my dad did, which is very little. But he stood over me, and I saw the face of my father, and he was eating jean pants, just like my dad used to. And God, I don't know what it is about him, but I like them. I think the. Oh, I think I hear. Nope, that's a baby. It's a stupid baby. They don't have any gangs, the babies.
Goats, welcome to the headquarters of the Goat Resistance. Today, shut up, I'm trying to talk, goats. Today, we talk about our plan to take over the Costco and stock up all the toilet paper because I am out. And it's still pretty cold out, and that bidet does not have warm water. Goats. Yes, this seems very selfish as your leader, but you guys shit in the yard and you eat the yard, so it's the least we can do.
I found this. It's an aluminum hat. It's not tinfoil. They're pretty close. I don't know the table of elements that well, but I believe this means that the goats cannot read my thoughts. I didn't have a big enough piece for my whole head, so wherever thoughts come from is kind of where I'm trying to block. It sort of just seems like a silly hat, but whatever keeps me safe in all of this, right? I have a lot of bad thoughts about goats, and I don't want them to know what I'm thinking. I talked to a goat today in person, and I think it knew what I was thinking.
Well, they ate the shirt, and I got the message loud and clear. Tonight is not the night. So we're moving on. They're bloodthirsty tonight. One of them, he looked at me, and I could hear him thinking, and that's new. So that's good news and bad news, because we're opening the avenues of communication, and I think That's one of the most important things when you want to get into a gang, is that you're able to communicate, you know? So many people, I think, don't communicate anymore. And a gang is just friends who do illegal stuff together in the end. So if you want to be friends with a cool gang, just is loyalty, you know? Loyalty and lots of tin cans. Just like anyone would expect. I think they went to eat an old man's garden, which is what goats do. Or shoot some cops or whatever gangs do. Either way, they had a lot of meth on them. But good night overall.
Slowly but surely, my gang took over the city, moving towards the downtown sector, converting humans into goats. Any human you seeing wearing this stylish cap has been converted. Life is good as king of the goats. Next, we'll branch out west and get all of those white people. And then, Lincoln. We're going to change the football team's name to the Lincoln Goats. And then...
Hello. I'm here to talk about what the goats really mean. I am an expert goat whisperer. So the ghosts of the goats come to me and tell me of their working. And the ultimate goal here from the ghost goat community is for better communication among the humans. So these foil hats.
Okay, one of the goats just left. Apparently I'm converted. The only professional who's helping us at all, it laughs about it like it's some sort of joke. While us humans are forced to eat tinfoil, it's better than I would have imagined.
Well, I didn't have any tin foil. I mostly cook on parchment. It's more than have made it more than clear what I'm supposed to do. So, it's going to be here waiting for them until they can bring me some tin foil, I assume, or one hopes. It really would be best if any of you out there could bring me a little tin foil. I mostly cook on parchment, as I said, and parchment paper. And, here's a little goat. He's got, oh no, it's a gun. What he has is a gun. I don't know if that's going to help me with my conversion at all, but God bless.
Guys, Kingdom is spreading. Kansas City, we got them. Moving on to Denver next. But I stocked all this toilet paper. This toilet paper up, but it's not really useful. I think I caught the actual virus. It's not a hoax like I thought.
With all this goat stuff going on, we forgot we had a virus to deal with. So, I mean, oh God. The goats are coming to finish me off. No, goats. No.
Wow, Goats can be really vicious creatures.
Well, the goats came by and they had their tinfoil and they looked me over and it was a strong no thank you. Got a strong no thank you from the goats. So one of the one of the 0.01% humans who are immune to goats wanting them. So I might file for goat unemployment. I've heard that the goats are kind with their safety nets for those of us who learn to improvise rather than work. Anyway.
Well, all my little goats, the red light is flashing. My time on this goat-filled earth is coming to a close. To take over for me, I'm anointing you, Donovan, the coolest goat, to be the head of the goat herd, to continue our global conquest. We've achieved taking over all of the United States of America. It was way easier than we thought. We just had to cancel all sports. Next, Canada. Canada, sweet Canada, and their maple syrup.
And that's how the goats took over. You know, one by one, the goats would sacrifice themselves to the virus, but then they would still continue on their mission. So when you see a red light flashing, you should be really scared. It's a warning.
Wow. Thank you so much, everyone, for that incredibly informative documentary. The people are very inspired, and now everyone's concerned about GoatVid-19. But they're excited that Chloe managed to live through that. RT Chris. Okay, so we've been collecting a lot of really great questions that are being posted in our Twitch chat. So if you have any questions about the quarantine or goats or just life in general, we're going to answer every single question that gets asked in some way. So post away in our Twitch chat. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be visiting another expert who's going to be giving us a PowerPoint presentation. Now, let me see here. Kunavang asked us to talk about houseplant care. And luckily, we happen to have an expert on houseplant care with us. So let me just pull up his presentation and please get ready for Nathan. We got this. You see it?
Yep. Hey, guys. I'm Nathan, and I'm here to talk to you about how to care for your plants, unlike these poor plants who are left in the cold. Next slide, please. I'm an expert in superflat. That's a plant tending technology that I invented myself, and I'm a magistrate of sports, particularly plant sports. Next slide, please. Fat fuck. Excuse me. What were some of the turning points in your life? Well, I was challenged over time as I lived my life to try to tend to the plants and keep them well guarded. I was born in 1944, and you can see the graph of my challenges over time. Challenges rose in the 40s when the plants started to get disrespected by the government, and in the 60s and in 88, I really helped out the plants, but now they're not doing so good. Next slide, please. Snake, Excelsior. Well, one thing that's important when you're taking care of plants is to have the symbiotic relationships, and no animal has a better symbiotic relationship with plants than snakes. My personal pet snake is Excelsior, and they secrete helpful oils that help the plants to thrive, and also the chlorophyll helps the snakes. These people here are honoring the snake by doing the snake pose, and I recommend this to everyone. Next slide, please. Do people really listen to the TV with volume past 70? Well, if you do, you should stop, because it's creating pollution. Like you can see in this picture here, all of this pollution from this dark, cloudy day was generated by electrical pollution from volume. Next slide, please. Well, plants have a particular smell that they give off when they're doing well. It smells kind of like a foot. So if you can smell that, then you know that your plants are doing well. In Europe, when the depression hit Europe, plant safety went from 5.4% to 23%. So really, the better humanity's doing, the worse it is for plants. So there's a delicate balance, and you can't let humanity do too well. Efficiently reinventing all the time in how to let the plants thrive, just like Jane Eyre would do. Next slide, please. Predator. Well, there are certain predators that attack plants, and they need to be snuffed out. Right here, this is the coast of Florida, and that's where the creator lives. He's the same, and he never changes, despite the names given him by people here and in all parts of the world. Even if we gave him no name at all, he'd still be there with us, wanting to give us good on this earth, particularly the plants. Really, they're kind of the main life form in my lights. I don't like any of the books that I'm going to read in my life. Does anyone have any book suggestions? Lately, I've been just rereading Harry Potter, and it's getting old. But we'll save that for the question section. Next slide, please. And that's it. Up above, you can see the current world where plants are not doing so well, but on the bottom, that's how it could be with more plants.
All right, so we do have some questions from the people.
All right.
First of all, FOC ? That's the question. Please explain.
Right. Yes, that's part of my plant philosophy. As you can see, it's spelled PHATFOK, and that's the Native American word for blessings of the plants.
That seems real. Yep. Another question from Shai Kalhoff. Is it irresponsible to bring sea monkeys to life in a time like this?
I would say that it is irresponsible, yes. Sea monkeys eat plants, and if they get loose on land, they can really cause a problem. So really shouldn't be raising them.
Oh, okay. Rock Over London says, thank God we have this plant expert. Nathan is the leader we need. Just FYI.
Appreciate that.
And we've got a couple of book recommendations for you. The Stormlight Archives, Stone Butch Blues by Leslie Feinberg, and the Twilight Saga. So you can get your read on.
All right, thanks for the plant suggestions, guys. And
I'm
remember
sorry,
to
question.
feed a plant.
Will my succulent come back to haunt me because I overwatered it because I loved it too much?
Yes, it will. And
Great.
that's just the price you have to pay.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for taking your time to share all of that important information with us.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Well, that was just an invigorating lesson on houseplant care. I hope your houseplant questions were answered. If not, go ahead and you can keep posting them in the chat and we can revisit with our experts a little bit later. But now we have another question that's going to be answered by Andrea, and the topic is going to be I'm sorry, it's going to take me just a second to get back to our PowerPoint collection. So just a reminder that you can be donating to the Backline on Venmo at the Backline or PayPal backlineimprov@gmail.com. Please check out us on patreon.com/backlinecomedy. And I am looking for the link that I need to get our next question answered. Okay, so we have Andrea Morton with us, who happens to be an expert on sewer life. And one of our viewers on Twitch asked us to please discuss that. Discuss, not discussed. You get it. All right. So if Andrea is ready, we're going to just pull this up. And there we go. Take it away, Andrea.
Well, I would like to start by saying you are right to correct yourself about using the word disgust in terms to sewer life. That is not the way we talk in this day and age. We want to be welcoming to all sewer life. And that's my take. Next slide, please. Well, as everyone knows about me, I enjoy stand-up comedy. My favorite comedians are James Acaster. You probably haven't heard of him. He's a British comedian. I'm that special. And there's other comedians too. Mike Birbiglia. I grew up in Lafayette, Louisiana. I fought long and hard to get over my accent. And I'm proud of myself for that. Next slide, please. So this particular person who lives in the sewer is named Lee Iacocca. And the biggest question I've always wanted to answer is, what do you like most about your family? So Lee, if you are listening to this, please let me know. Your family seems pretty cool, and I just want to get to know them a little bit. So please, Lee, I sort of think that the coolest thing about your family is how they all like hug each other. And that seems neat. Is it neat? Thank you. Answer, please. Next slide. This is a good quote. There are none so deaf. Well, I just added the there are. None so deaf as those that will not hear. None so blind as those that will not see. And as you see, you do see. While sewer people sewer life often cannot see very well because they grew up in the dark. Like Bane, yes. Like Bane, but with much more strength to them. So there are none so blind as those that will not see, especially if they're sewer life. Next slide. Ah, a good question. I should know, I wrote it myself. What would you do with the extra time? Sewer life often can't sleep because of the constant danger they live in, especially from, well, you see the picture, the flaming snowmen. It's a little known fact about the underworld, as I call it. It's a joke based off the movies. That it is sewer life versus flaming snowmen. They are ghosts, which has come up a lot tonight. And the sewer life has to stay awake night and day, otherwise the snowmen might get an advantage. So what would you do with the extra time? Probably fight off ghost snowmen. Next slide. I just need to read this for a second. Okay. Yes, I remember. We'll make the title make sense in a second. I'd just like to read this quote. To serve as prime minister while being too mindful of the approval rating is like serving as a prime minister on a roller coaster. What is important, I believe, is that I really act on promises that I make and leave results. Leave a track record and show that to the Japanese public, who will, at the end of the day, I hope, appreciate it. Now, this was a speech, the Dragon Tears speech, as based off of a quote that is not part of this quote, by Prime Minister of the Sewer Life, Vlad Grenwald. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name. And this was from a time when they really helped out Japan. Just a fun little fact, the sewer people love Japan. Next slide. What annoys you most about the in-groups you are a part of? I don't like how they smell a lot of times because I hang out mostly with sewer life, but that's just surface privilege talking. Mexico and Madagascar are a couple of our sources for minerals found in pencils and brake linings. Fun fact there. Also, the sewer life. This is a classic example of sewer life erasure. The sewer folk, as I call them, manufacture a lot of minerals out of their glands. And I think they should be thanked for it. The picture is fire, and the initials stand for snowman hate. It's a symbol of pride among the sewer folk. I think that's our last slide. So does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, we do have some questions from the people. So to start with, well, this isn't a question, it's a statement, but Cattlemeyer says, I feel like you're making up these names. Do you want to defend yourself on that front or just let it go?
Public speaking is very difficult, and I'd like to see you try.
Oh, okay.
Great. I can't remember everything.
Old Man Brandy B asks, how much daylight, if any, would you suggest a sewer dweller take in weekly?
Don't get cellar dwellers and sewer dwellers confused.
So sorry.
That's a classic mistake. How much daylight? Well, traditionally, none, if everything's going right. It's very rare that anyone should need to come up and see any sunlight. Maybe a couple speckles through the holes in the manhole. You know, the manhole holes. But that's plenty.
Is Sewer Godzilla real?
Oh, well, a lot of people will tell you no, but this is a little pet project of mine. I think there's very little chance that there is no Sewer Godzilla. It seems very likely. The evidence isn't there, but all the numbers add up to it.
Are the white snowman ghosts racist?
Very. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Are international sewers different?
Well, did you know that underneath France, the sewer is all directly lined with the streets? I mean, Paris, not the whole country of France. So that's interesting. That's not how our sewers are. It's cool.
All right. All right, one final question from the people. You mentioned surface privilege. How do we combat this and begin to dismantle the oppression that surface dwellers impose on sewer dwellers?
Well, that's a complex issue, and I don't claim to know the answer. The biggest thing you can do is just be mindful of everything you do in your life, you know? Are you pooping too much? That's not great for the sewer people. So try to poop less, you know? That's the biggest thing, really.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing that insightfulness with us.
Goodbye.
So, yes. All right. So you guys have been posting lots of really excellent questions in the chat. I've been writing them down. If you have more, go ahead and continue taking notes or posting them in the chat, and I will continue adding them to my list, because luckily for all of you, we are going to be having a panel of experts. Sorry, that's my co-host. A panel of experts who are going to answer questions about life in quarantine and what's going on in the world and any other questions that you need answers to. Every single question that shows up in the chat, we will confront. So let's get our panel of experts going.
Thanks for having me on, Robin. It means a lot to be on the show.
Pleased to be here. Pleased to be here.
I am not happy to be here, but I am, however, still here.
I'm pretty excited to be here.
I just stuck around.
Was that the sewer person?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I want to point out once again that I am not excited or happy to be here, but I am in fact.
Well, I'm excited that all of you are here. So we've got some important questions. Yes.
If I may, I said I was pleased to be here before I understood the scale to which other people were using. I am also excited to be here.
And actually, I never really made a statement either way.
Hey guys, I'm here too.
Oh, good. Our plant expert has also come back. Great.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Perfect.
I am grateful to have that knowledge. I will not take my clothes off when I am not speaking.
That is very helpful. I'll pay attention.
Why don't we go ahead and get started with some of these questions? So the first question is this: cement.
Well,
tell me about
cement again.
As a founding member of the cement lobby, I can tell you how important cement is to our coronavirus response. You need it. It's part of it. What are people going to stand on when they get back outside? Grass? No. Cement.
You know what I think? I think in the year 2020, we should really have streets that are lit up while you're on them, and also create heat. So during the winter, it melts the snow. How great would it be to have lines that are different colors, right? Like, oh, I'm in the blue line. I'm in the red line. You know exactly where that line is. You can see it at all times. It's a digital concrete. Basically.
I'm sorry. Typical liberal talking point. I would like to know, Robin, how can we ask the question cement when we haven't even asked concrete, or furthermore, asphalt?
Let me jump in here, Carl. Concrete, asphalt, Those were the battles of the 80s and 90s. We've won that fight. Concrete is the new battleground. Next, it will be AstroTurf. AstroTurf is the next frontier.
What about blacktop? Someone's going to bring up blacktop? Start with blacktop.
What about
as fascinating as this conversation is, actually going to move on to some of our other questions that just feel a little more pressing in the current climate. We can circle.
What about roads that are just made of plants? What about those?
Yeah, biodegradable roads.
Yeah.
I was not told I would be on a panel with a hippie.
Chris,
Hey, no.
I'm hearing AstroTurf. I'm hearing plants, and I'll tell you one thing: my chalk isn't happy about that.
I would like to bring up the fact that roads are in fact evil, and we should abolish them. No roads at all.
Hold on, was
Thank
Carl bringing up the 202nd Amendment that says that every person should be able to bear chalk?
Bear what now?
He said chalk. I think that's nonsense. I don't agree with that. Not my president. We don't.
Look.
children?
Yes, let's move on before we get we say something we regret. We have a big debate going on in the chat earlier, and the question that was posed was, is it okay to eat quesadillas 3 meals a day while in quarantine? It's a question from Twitchy McTwitchy. So experts?
I would like to point out that you can eat as many quesadillas a day as you want. However, each quesadilla must be distinct. Is your first quesadilla just cheese? Your next quesadilla should have at least green peppers or possibly chicken. The third quesadilla should always be made with a different type of cheese. If you used Monterey Jack before, sorry, buddy, you got to move on to cheddar.
That's a great point, Matt. That is a great point. Because we're really missing the nuance in this debate. It doesn't matter about the overall meal. It matters what's in the meal. Are we being French? Are we eating only cheese? Are we going to be America? Are we going to add beef and pork?
You do have to be very careful when you're dealing with cheese and calories. If you were to go to Outback and get their Alice Springs chicken quesadilla, that's almost 1,500 calories. If you eat that 3 times a day, we're talking 4,500 calories in your day right now.
I'm sorry. Robin, do I have to sit here all day and listen to this elitist nonsense? If I want to put 2 slices of American cheese between tortillas and microwave it 5 to 6 times a day, that's the way I'm going to live.
If we allow everyone to do whatever they want, then the health crisis in this country is going to get out of control. It needs to be regulated. The free market can't figure this out.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if we
should mandate that they eat cheap tortillas 5 to 6 times a day.
Agreed.
Quesadillas and chalk need to stay unregulated.
Look, I just think
We have
as an American, we have
a question coming in directly for Chris.
Oh, love this.
Chris, who's your favorite goat?
Oh, wow.
From the gang.
My favorite goat from my gang. I would say
it might have been written by Hoogs, so just keep that in mind with your answer.
Oh, okay. I mean, I want to say Donovan, but that's the political answer. That's who I passed the reins down to. That's who was most ready. But my real favorite goat is a guy named Brandon Frazier.
I love him. He's a good goat.
Mm-hmm.
I would like, hold on. I'm sorry to interject, Robin, but I would like to point out that ranking goats in any matter is, in fact, incredibly elitist and condescending. Goats, the word is the animal, also stands for greatest of all time. By definition, every goat is the greatest goat.
Let's give everyone a participation award.
All right. Whew, that was a hot take. Question coming in for Nathan.
Okay.
Let's see, where to go? Oh, plant sidewalks. Is it just grass? Is that just
yeah, a lot of people think that plant sidewalks are just, grass, but no, you have to have a special kind of grass inside of the rest of the grass that is resistant to feet and that produces the right pheromones to attract you to the sidewalk.
Is that what
That sounds
crabgrass
like
is?
the-
Are they roads made of plants for people or roads made for plants?
They're both. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's not crabgrass. It's called Eastern steel undergrass, and it's from.
Gotcha. Sounds like Carl might have something to say about that. Carl?
Here's my question: If a grass sidewalk is just grass, then why did I walk into a tree the other day?
Well, probably because you weren't walking on the correct grass. A lot of people don't understand grasses like I do. So, I'll have a book
Distinguishing grass is
recommendation
like
for you.
it's like distinguishing mushrooms.
You know where
You can't
there's
eat
grass?
the wrong mushroom. You can't eat the wrong grass.
I would like to point out.
Question for Andrea. Andrea, are birds real?
Yes. Yeah.
Are they dinosaurs?
What I need to know from everyone,
Sewer
without
birds.
answering with your voice, just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Are birds real? Not real? How does our expert panel feel about this?
Birds are real, but they need to go to school.
Oh, okay. So once birds have gone to school, are they real?
They continue to be real, and they in fact become more real.
Here's what I know, Robin. This is all my experience with birds. I have never heard or seen a bird at night. But I have heard trees play bird sounds and have animatronic birds in the middle of the day. Birds are not real. They don't exist at night.
That is an impossible argument to argue with. So we'll move on to some of our next questions. Let's see. What is the best way to fold your tinfoil hat?
Well,
I'll leave this
I
to
feel
the
like I'm the
experts.
expert here. Dylan's was shoddy, but that's why he was a low-level gang member. I was the king of goats, so I had a whole roll, and you roll it around your hand, and then you just do a twist, and then if you have a big head like me, it might take a couple rolls, but you just put it right on there, and then you're the king.
I would like to point out that aluminum foil is in fact self-folding. You simply place it on a surface and allow it to choose the shape it takes. Anything else is tinfoil repression.
Like cats.
Excellent. Wow, we're getting a lot of questions, so I'm just gonna kind of assign these, even if they didn't specifically ask for someone to answer. But
Is it too late to say there's more than one way to fold a cat?
Never.
9 ways to fold a cat.
You shouldn't have a cat. You shouldn't have a cat. This is America. We like dogs here.
You can fold a cat up to 7 times, and then you can't no more.
So Chris, there's a lot of debate going on regarding your Brendan Fraser.
Brandon with an A.
Ooh, yikes! So this
Is that a
all this
different
stuff about
person?
the Mummy featuring a goat and Blast from the Past.
We can get into it. I'm all for goat everything. Let's talk about goats and the Mummy. Let's go.
Well,
Goats and the Mummy.
I think a goat could have
talking
played
about-
Brendan Fraser's character.
He's great.
Goats are
Not to
strong
be confused
leaders.
with Kelsey Grammer. Kelsey Grammer played Fraser.
Yeah.
And Brendan Fraser
Robin,
played the
I'd love to
mummy.
interject here, just to say that I agree.
I also agree that he played Fraser. I think that is an opinion that I'm on board with.
By this logic, if Kelsey Grammer played Fraser and Brendan Fraser could be a goat, that means Kelsey Grammer is half goat.
Yeah, that's
Distributive property, right? That makes sense.
Learned about
I do
that.
have to remind you all that when Brendan Fraser, the goat, swung from a vine in Tarzan, that was disrespectful to plants.
That was not Tarzan. That was
disrespectful to plants.
So
watch out for that tree.
Where is Elizabeth Hurley in all this?
That connects to what I said earlier.
Let's ask ourselves, who cares about Elizabeth Hurley?
Whoa.
Let's seriously ask ourselves about
Whoa. Yikes!
Wow.
All right, before this gets too wild, I have a question for Dylan. Dylan,
Okay.
what's the best way to cook your neighbor?
Oh, It depends, I guess, if your neighbor is a human. Is that what it's assuming?
Not specified. Maybe answer it both ways.
Sure. Well, I think typical neighbor graces would be that you would borrow a little bit from each neighbor. So first you would go around to your block and say, hey, can I borrow a cup of sugar? Can I get some flour? You get all that plus your neighbor. You then make a big batch of neighbor cookies with your neighbor, and then you go around the block and give the cookies back.
I'm noticing a lack of garlic in this recipe.
In a cookie?
Yeah.
That's gross.
I'm sorry, there's nothing in which you can't put garlic.
You can have meat in a cookie, but I don't know if you would put garlic.
Well, then how would you make sure that no vampires could steal your cookies?
Well, I'd say to put human blood in the cookie would be to invite the vampire.
We're pro vampire here.
By not putting that blood in there, you then take the chance of the vampire not eating it out.
Are you saying you're pro vampire? Are you pro big oil too?
Well, it depends on what kind of vampire.
Well, I think we need to do another survey of the whole group. Are we pro vampire?
The big oil guy did say there will be blood. That seems like a vampire connection to me.
Not pro vampire. Who is anyone in here pro vampire?
I am only pro the vampires that get all of their blood from donations. Every other vampire is immoral and
the
should
guy
be
with the long hair that looks like Bram Stoker's Dracula is somewhat pro vampire.
Doesn't Bram Stoker's Dracula look like Walt Whitman?
Oh, I'm talking about when before he goes to war at the beginning of the movie.
But doesn't Walt Whitman look like Abraham Lincoln? Ask yourself that.
Isn't that Henry David?
No, I'm so sorry, but we're gonna have to go on to the next question. The question is for Carl. Carl, what is a baby goat ghost?
What? Sorry, I'm sorry, one more time.
What is a baby ghost goat called?
By its name.
Oh, actually, I know this answer. A baby ghost goat is in fact a Casper.
You're so right. That's so true.
I feel like I've been tricked.
Like a kid. All right, I get it. But a ghost. All right. Anyway, Natalie, what's the best setting for microwave frozen chicken strips? Microwaving them.
If you're like me and you don't want to babysit whatever you're putting in the microwave, then you put it on for a long time, but you set it to half power so that if it does explode, it only explodes a little and isn't like a big mess to clean up.
Can I interject here? I feel like there's a group that does not get the visibility out there that they deserve with chicken nuggets and corn dogs. The air fryer group. Have you ever had an air fried chicken nugget? It's the perfect consistency with a crisp on the outside.
Air fryers had their moment.
Well, they're great. They're adult easy bake ovens.
Wow, that's a hot take.
I've never had fried air, but it sounds delicious.
It's low calorie, surprisingly.
Never mind.
Nathan, Shyla, these names are hard to read. Shyla Kalhoff wants to know if grass is indestructible and is it made of razor blades?
Only the steel undergrass really is indestructible, which is why it's preferable for sidewalks and roads.
I would actually like to take out this opportunity. While Nathan has a great idea with his grass roads, you cannot use steel undergrass because that is appropriative of Philadelphia culture.
And I'd like to say that there's still a problem with grass
now.
roads. Still a problem where you can't use chalk on grass roads, and I can't say I'm in favor of that.
I agree with it. I agree with the hippie, Nathan. Steel undergrass is the way to go. Steel is an American industry, and we need to bail them out. I don't know if they're struggling right now. Let's bail them out.
Coal grass.
Exactly.
Clean coal grass that you can use.
Another
Coal grass is
I'm
good for
sorry.
the
There's
environment.
another question for Nathan going on here. Nathan, what do you think about plant-based chicken nuggets?
That's well, you'd think it would be good, but no, it's not. It's not good. It's destroying endangered species because it's made out of Western truffle grass. And
I'm
there's
going to say
not very much
something.
left.
I think Chris will agree with me. All chicken nuggets are plant-based. What else are they going to be made out of? Birds? Come on.
I'd like to say, as an
I
American,
prefer my chicken nuggets made out of pork, but whatever. I agree with you, Carl. Good call.
I say you make them out of nuggies. Little weed nuggies, chicken weed nuggies.
Fun fact, if you put chicken nuggets inside of a tortilla, that does technically count as a quesadilla.
with cheese.
Andrea,
A damn good one.
can sewer people use air fryers?
I don't see why not, except for their rampant lack of electricity. This is a real problem in society.
Oh my God.
You need to put extension cords down into the gutters, please.
Look, can
You
we
have
just
to plug them in, drop them into the water. Let it go down.
Yes.
Can we just point out? Can we just point out that the number one drain on our government from our taxes
Drain?
is
You
sewer
really said
people?
drain?
Drain. Yeah, I said it. I said it. They stick their little cords up, get our electricity, just feeding off the system. This is capitalism.
You're forgetting
God.
about all the minerals they produce. You wouldn't be anywhere without their minerals.
God put electricity in the sky for a reason. It's for the people who can see it.
All right, this next question, I'm going to need an answer from everyone. So please wait to contribute until I've asked for it. And if you need to make a rebuttal, go ahead and just signal, and then I'll give the attention back to you. Let's start with Chris. What's the worst condiment?
Mayonnaise.
Excellent. Carl.
Like a brick.
You're right. That would be a bad condiment. That is a good point. Dylan.
We'll go with Arby's sauce.
That's fair.
That's
Andrea?
controversial.
I think probably Antarctica.
Oh, close to real quick on. It's not a rebuttal necessarily, but with Arby's sauce, also A1.
Oh,
Can I rebut the Arby's sauce?
Glad you clarified. Wait, Andrea, did you want to tell us a little bit more about why Antarctica is the worst condiment?
Condiment? Well, no one lives there, but also I'd say semen.
I've seen too many videos to say that that's the worst condiment.
It's not the worst. Mayonnaise is worse.
Matt, what's the worst condiment?
Well, I would like to start off by saying that this question is not a valid one. It's in bad faith because you see,
Take that up with Dave.
condiment is an illusion. There are simply ingredients of a sandwich, of which condiments are just as equally valid as lettuce, tomato, patties, and deli meats. So to call them and relegate them to condiments is, in fact, a falsehood and denigrates their status as a potential just sandwich ingredient. Have you ever tried a ketchup and mustard sandwich? It's delicious.
Chris would like to respond.
I've just heard repeating things from Matt tonight, and I'm just disturbed by this un-American communist viewpoint. What do you believe in? What exists to you? Because literally everything does not exist.
Yeah, count for yourself, dirtbag.
I believe in food egalitarianism. All food is food, no matter whether it is digestible or not.
Wow.
So you eat nails, for instance.
I don't personally make the choice to eat nails, but for those who it's part of their culture and or a part of a masochistic self-cleansing ritual, I am fully behind you.
If you look at the Guinness Book of Records, someone ate a plane once.
Thank you for that input.
And the best
Nathan-
condiment is hemoglobin iron.
Oh, we're hold on.
There's the vampire.
All right, hold
God.
on.
Shit, it's
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Nathan, what's the worst condiment?
That's easy. Carrot sauce. There are fewer than 10,000 carrots left. They're endangered, and every time you eat carrot sauce, you're wiping it. They take 10 years to grow each carrot.
What
People
about
don't realize the sacrifice.
eating
What about
carrots?
baby ones?
Yeah, can we just eat
Those
carrots?
take about a year for each baby.
Yeah,
But
you're
still,
actually
there's
supposed to throw them back if you get a
there's barely
baby.
any left.
Are
Throw 'em.
we
It's irresponsible harvesting.
are we going to get haunted by carrot ghosts?
You will. It's already happening. I had a carrot dream last night.
Is that what
Carrots.
coronavirus is?
Well, the plant virus to mammal jump hasn't been witnessed for sure, but I suspect that
They both start with C.
likely, yeah, they both start
I
with C.
find this to be both topical and stupid.
Shouldn't baby orange things be called barons?
Why?
Baron Trump.
Are there any other questions?
Hold on.
Just wanted to say, get my
I need-
piece in about carrots.
I
People
need
need to know.
Natalie to answer. The worst condiment is what?
I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I have to say it. It's ranch.
God damn it.
Whoa! Whoa! You're saying that while living in Nebraska?
Yeah, I know it's a real controversial opinion, but I'm sorry. Ranch is a combination of super bad stuff for you, so much sugar, so much salt, combined with a taste that may as well just be salt itself. I don't know why you even bother.
Okay,
Well, those are all the good things about
there's
ranch.
going to be no time for responses to that because there's too much blowback. That was a hot take.
Ranch is a
Natalie,
Russian conspiracy.
I have another question for you, Natalie, and it is: are you anti-vampire? Rock over London would like to know.
I am anti Alucard. I'll just leave it at that.
That's Dracula backwards.
I find that disturbing, as Alucard is one of the few vampires I know that ethically sources his blood.
Here we go again, playing the Alucard.
Oh.
Ow!
I said what I said. I'm not taking anything back.
This is a question for whoever wants to respond. In Europe, Cool Ranch Doritos are called Cool American. What's your take on that?
My hope is that someday sewer people are called cool Americans.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Topside for topsiders.
Cool Ranch Doritos are called Cool Americans? Like, there's no Dorito at all, or is it Cool American Dorito?
It's Cool American Dorito.
Cool American Doritos.
Oh, okay. Is it
They
not
they
Doritos when it's nacho cheese?
no, it's still nacho cheese. But they did name Cool American Doritos after America's biggest import or export, Steve Nash, the basketball player from the NBA. That's what they're named after.
I have another question for a plant expert.
Okay.
What is the most endangered plant?
The most endangered plant, it's gonna be the strawberry. They're gone. These are the last strawberries you'll ever see.
Wow.
A lot of people don't realize.
Like they're in a jam.
They were made into jams and they were over harvested.
Dylan, that was unacceptable. So that's going to be a demerit on you. Not allowed to say things like that. Yes, Chris.
How long does it take for one strawberry to grow, plant expert?
15 years per
Plant
strawberry.
Per strawberry.
Per strawberry.
Wow.
If
They grow on a
strawberries-
strawberry tree and they're almost gone.
If
There is a
strawberries,
conspiracy theory in the comments right now. Rock over London says Natalie doesn't like ranch because she's a vampire and ranch has garlic.
Ooh, yeah.
That
Ooh.
is
That's
uh
Natalie.
that's just slander, not specifically on vampires, but just slander in general. It has nothing to do with anyone being a vampire.
All right. I'm starting to get suspicious here. Natalie, you were against garlic, and you're against Alucard, who, as we know, is one of the most ethical vampires. Now I have to ask, are you anti-Belmont?
Look, bells really irritate my ears, and mountains are just always in the way. So you put them together, and who isn't irritated by them? Obviously, I'm anti-Belmont.
Telling.
I'd like
I-
to say that this
yeah,
is getting needlessly video gamian, and the most ethical vampire is also Edward.
I'm sorry. May I
familiar.
interject?
Yes, Carl.
If strawberries are almost extinct, then why did I find and then eat an unwrapped strawberry Jolly Rancher in my couch cushions?
They're not made of real strawberries. They're made of
They're cherries,
chemicals.
I believe. Cherry chemicals, I believe.
Cherry chemicals. Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Chemicals. Chemicals,
It
yes.
was red.
I'm heavily invested in Dow Chemical, so I know this is fact.
Yes.
Carl, Rock Over London would like you to read a grass book. I don't know what that means, but read a grass book, Carl.
I know. Now listen. I've walked on grass my whole life. My parents walked on grass their whole life, and before that, their parents never. They were in a bed like the grandparents in Willy Wonka.
Maybe
So I think I know a little bit.
Their whole lives they were in that bed.
you walked on
Huh?
grass. You didn't live with the grass.
Now wait a minute. Let me ask you a question. If I don't know about grass, why did I try to eat some?
Worms?
Dirt
good point.
taste.
Correct.
Can our audience start purging?
Yes. The end of times is near. We are losing the economy, the great economy, which keeps us all afloat and makes us all happy. So now is the time for the purge. The economy is over. It's a thing of the past. Purge it up.
The best part
I
about
believe
purge
that
is it
the
always happens at night.
Oh, sorry,
I believe
Carl.
that the
Rock
idea
Over
of
London
the purge-
says Rock Over London says Carl knows nothing about grass. So I'm sorry about that.
Ow.
Well,
Three
he's got a
grass
few
facts.
things right, a few things
Three
wrong.
grass
Like
facts
others?
that I know.
Oh, okay.
Three grass facts that I know. How it's spelled.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Spell
to
it.
find it.
Yes. All right. Thank you for that expert take. Are dogs aliens? Controversial. Are dogs aliens?
Yes,
At least half.
they
half
come
dogs
from.
or half aliens?
Both.
I saw a dog walking into the sewer one time. I don't know what that means, but
Oh, Andrea? What does that mean?
It means that they're getting smarter, and that we are soon to be doomed.
Another follow-up dog question. Do dogs have brains?
Yes.
Yes, they are man's best friend and smartest friend.
Okay, so this is getting a little real here, but I feel like if dogs could talk, humans would be way more mean to dogs.
Aren't they already?
I'm intrigued. I would like Dylan continue.
Okay, so like let's say right now, no one's ever like if someone's ever mad at someone for being dumb, it's like for things they say usually. And like we think dogs are so smart because they can't talk. But like if they could, we'd be like, they're dumb and you don't get to make choices, dogs.
Okay. I have to interrupt here because Dylan is showing a classic example of dog ignorance. It's just ignorant. Dogs do
Dognorance.
talk. You just have to put in the effort of learning their language.
I'm gonna have to agree with Dylan here. Anytime anyone here stops talking, I find them incredibly more intelligent.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
How many questions do we got left?
That's not. Someone just posted because I'd really want to know, but they didn't post a question with it. So
If I may, there was a question posted earlier in the chat from Daytamo that I wanted to answer. It said, "What if you guys kissed?" And my answer is, I would kiss everyone in this conversation right now.
Oh,
But I
oh,
would
you
only
see-
enjoy it.
Hold on, hold on,
enjoy
hold
it. I would only enjoy it
Stop,
for about
stop,
5 people.
stop. Matt Johnson, the question was not who in this chat would you kiss? It was what would happen if you kissed.
Can I take this one?
Yes, Chris.
I've kissed 2 people in this chat already.
All right.
Mystery.
No one is ashamed to admit that one. All right. Great. You know what we should definitely do is just go around and share that information. But more importantly,
Let's all kiss and swap our mucuses.
perfect plan. Twitchy McTwitchy would like to know, if spiders could talk, would they be smart? Dylan, I think you are going to be the best equipped to answer that.
Okay, so this is great actually, because if spiders could talk, with as tiny of brains as they had, it would be very simple, and I imagine 1 or 2 words, and it would seem creepier than it would dumb. They would just look at you and say, "Food," and you'd go, "Oh, all right, I'm out of here. I'm out of here."
Spiders would say, "Some pig." Wonderful. Radiant. And food.
And what?
Food.
Food.
He was correct with food.
Oh, yeah. That does seem like something that they would say. One other question that has not been answered yet is Robin biased because she has a bird name? I suppose this is in reference to our conversation about whether or not birds are real. Does anyone have a hot take on whether or not I'm biased because I have a bird name?
You're not named after the sidekick?
No, I'm
not
named.
Isn't your
after
brother
the crime?
named Batman? And you're Batman and Robin?
My brother's name is not Batman.
I thought you were named after the crime of burglary.
Yeah, that seems more accurate.
Can we kick Carl out of here? His liberal viewpoints are driving me
Carl's
wild.
liberal?
Yeah, you know what? The host should kick out Carl.
You know what? I'll kick out myself. Thank you.
Wait, hold on.
Whoa. There's no need to.
Oh my. Okay,
Please.
Carl, we have a question for you. Carl.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thrive on conflicts between the humans.
This is a question from Tom J. Rust.
Yeah.
Who?
I'm sorry?
The question is, who?
Oh, thank you. President Ronald Reagan, and I'll meet you afterwards.
Great.
Best president.
Rock Over London wants you out, Carl. They said ban
Yeah.
Carl. Yikes.
That's fair.
That's the majority.
All right, let me just go through my list, make sure we answered all of the questions.
Let's answer them all again.
Chris, would you like to cover this one? Can you tell us a little bit about goat communication methods?
Oh, yes. So everybody knows about their bands. That's just the standard way. They also are trained in Morse code by blinking. So that took about 9 months. My plan was to take over the United States in about 6, but we were delayed because of the Morse code. But they can blink at each other. The fainting goats are a little bit of a problem. Sometimes they just fall over and the message gets mixed. What can you do?
All right. Another question is, who killed Bambi's dad? Does anyone know who killed Bambi's dad?
I'm
I believe
aware.
that was my.
It
Oh,
wasn't.
I thought it was.
I'm pretty sure it was Dick Cheney.
Yeah, my hunting buddy. I thought it was my hunting buddy, Dick Cheney.
Great. Oh, and finally, we're gonna end our expert discussion with a little quiz, and it is, who is your favorite character from Charlotte's Web? So I'm just gonna say a character name, and if they're your favorite character, just go ahead and raise your hand or signal.
I'd like to take this. Okay.
No. We're doing it as a quiz, and you don't get to justify your answer unless I ask.
I have a good justification when you ask me. Charlotte.
Raise your hand if Charlotte's your favorite. Excellent. Wilbur. Okay, can't raise your hand for more than one, but all right. Fern. No.
I like plants.
Templeton.
Yep.
There you go. All right. Would anyone
Because
like?
it's a sewer.
Just That's a great reasoning, Andrea. Does anyone else have a?
Well, look.
I would
Look.
like to say
Oh my God.
that
The
once
literal man.
again, prioritizing a favorite of characters in Charlotte's Web is in fact ignorant, because we are all bound by the web of stories.
Well, call me ignorant. Call me ignorant. But Charlotte is the supreme character. She pulled herself up by her 8 bootstraps, created beautiful webs, which is a home. And this hippie liberal here says it's wrong to rank Charlotte number 1. Charlotte is a true patriot.
I like Snowball the pig.
All right.
I like Snowball.
Based on what happened in Charlotte, North Carolina, we can't save Charlotte.
Okay. We got some final thoughts from Rock Over London, who's been with us from the beginning. Final thoughts. Natalie is a vampire. Carl is a liberal hack. Nathan's plant facts are all correct. So,
we get something for each of us.
Have a PhD.
The people have spoken. So I.
Real quick.
Yes.
Just to let everyone know, you can go to teespring.com/stores/the-backline-shop and get cool.
Wow, I wonder if there's a place they could go to find that link easier.
Teespring dash.
Someone might drop it in the chat.
Yeah, maybe someone could type that out in the Twitch chat and people could find it there. Dave Tomo just asked again, but are birds real? So once again, if birds are real, not real, how'd we feel about it? Mixed
Birds
bag.
exist
Sorry, Dave
in the
Tomo.
mind.
We're not able to come to a conclusion on that one. Okay, so just to finish up while someone's typing out the Teespring website, once again, go ahead and check us out on patreon.com/backline-comedy. You can sign up on twitch.tv/backline to be notified every time we go live with more incredible improv shows in this
Those
time.
contacts cover the
And
whole
you can
life.
donate via Venmo at the Backline or PayPal backlineimprov@gmail.com. And the Teespring link was just posted in the chat.
Oh, I messed it up. Oh no.
Oh, don't use that. Don't use the link that got posted in the chat.
Don't go to the back live.
Awkward. The back live shot. So thank you for joining us for tonight's Backline News Hour, live from the Internet Broadcasting System, IBS. The second link has been posted, and it is correct. It's correct. All
Am I
right.
not doing my PowerPoint?
No.
Do we have time to do a final PowerPoint? I don't think so. It's already 9:30.
I guess we can. I forgot all about the last one. Should we end with one?
All right.
I'm down.
Plus,
I've got stuff to say.
okay. Yeah. Someone says.
I don't think we're doing a 9:30 show. So let's just...
find the link to set it up. Give me a second.
All right, we're not ending, everyone.
All right. Sorry, everybody. One more thing.
I would like to point out, while you're setting
my God.
that while I initially entered this discussion unhappy to be here, I am in fact okay with being here.
Thank you for saying that. Okay, I've got it set up. So here we go. Carl telling us about rampant criminal child gangs.
Hi there. I'm Carl Hauser, here to talk a little bit about something that's very near and dear to my heart. I think the hearts of many of you, rampant criminal child gangs. The crime you see committed here was the crime of a rampant child criminal gang. This explosion of fire was caught briefly on film, but they rarely are. Let's go to the next slide. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Now, I'm a PhD in syntheticism. So I basically understand the real and the not real. When I got my PhD in syntheticism, I was hoping to go into producing fake children. But the fake children that I hope to produce for childless parents taught me a lot more about real parents, real children, than I would have expected. I also learned a lot as a medical services manager for Quintiles Transitional Holdings Incorporated. I was there when I was starting my hobby of child creation, and they did not like me bringing in so many fake children to the hospital. I would leave them about, and they would think that they were dead. Basically, I'm an everyman when it comes to the health of those who are adults, senior health. And I care less, frankly, about the health of these children who are forming rampaging gangs, as they did in Clare Shores, Michigan, as you all know, which has been razed to the ground. My hometown, in fact. Oh, there it goes. Oh, next slide, please. All right, so let's talk about Colwyn, Victoria. This was a city in Victoria, the nation of Victoria, where the children broke through the walls. I'm so sorry. That's supposed to say arson. Obviously, where they broke through the walls of the local school, burning the whole thing down, yelling, "Die, filthy mud men, die!" Scrah! The children at the time had been listening to some of the local birds. Now, we can argue all day, and I have with my associates, about whether these birds are real birds or merely birds put there by the government to spy on us. But either way, it was the influence of these creatures that caused these children to go so wild. I'm so sorry. I do need to know if anyone else's fingertips tingle when you pee after holding it in too long. But that's just for me. That has nothing to do with the slide. Get to me about that, though. Anyway, next slide. So we remember Colwyn, Victoria, every day with our celebration of Lewinbro. We all go out to the hills to look at the hills and think of the Swedish country of Victoria, where they used to say Lewinbro when there were no children around because it was a bad word. Let me read you a quote that makes me always think about how many people died in Victoria that day. The most dangerous man to any government is the man who is able to think things out without regard to the prevailing, et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like I'm that man for this topic. This was something, this is a quote that I once read in Your Everyday Carry, the biography of Jim Carrey. Someone who, God, I respect to no end. My point being, I do have a solution to the kind of child gang problems that we've experienced in Victoria that makes us celebrate Lowenbrew. And I'd like to bring up that solution on the next slide. So in the next slide, I'll say that my solution is 22 immutable laws of marketing. Now, it is your own risk if you violate these laws of marketing. The laws of marketing are an adult thing. Each of the 22 immutable laws are the kind of things that only adults can do. Laws like wait your turn, share your toys, do your taxes. These 22 immutable laws, in my opinion, are the key to stopping the child menace. I remember when I was young, there were maybe 400 laws of being a child, while there were only 22 of being an adult. You remember 313 was the law that was the number of the law about Muslims fighting in the Battle of Badr against Muhammad's, and by extension, Islam's foes. We all remember that law and how we would play Muslims and Islam, or Muslims and Islam's foes, and or cops and robbers or stuff like that. But as an adult, you only need to follow the 22 laws. this, I think, is the key to making sure that the people who we interact with are adults rather than children, because that's the real problem. Is you walk up to someone on the street and you say, is this an adult? Is this a child? I hardly know. Are they far away or are they small? Who's to say? But by looking for either the 400 laws of being a child or the 22 laws of being an adult, you'll be able to tell which is which. Of course, the horror aspect of this, the scary part, is easy for me as a expert. I mean, so like I can get scared pretty easily by children, but you have to invest yourself into these children. Make sure that they know the laws of being a child, so they follow them, so everyone can know whether they're real or not. Now, let me give you the next slide to tell you how we're going to carry this into the future. John Lithgow, dear friend of mine, once said to me, what's something that happened or something that someone said that changed how you view the world? We were playing an outdoor game of chess at the time without a board and with colorful pieces, as seen in this picture. And I said to John, it was when my wife was taken by the child gangs and slaughtered because she didn't know whether the gang of people coming up to her were adults or children. And that's when I started studying the laws of what it means to be an adult or a child. I truly studied the laws of what it means to be anything, whether it's the Cymric, the Cockapoo, the Cabadello. If I see something walking up to me, I can tell if it's a dog or a child or a human adult. And in the future, I think we all, including John Lithgow, who unfortunately passed in Victoria with all the others, Lugenbrew, we can all look to the future where we will be able to be safe from these roving child gangs. Can I get my final slide, please? I just want to say in conclusion, this problem, it's enormous. It's a Godzilla of a problem. That's what we say in the synthetic children industry, where we kind of deal with this stuff. I mean, this year with all the roving child gangs out there, I didn't know that spring had begun until I saw the Google Doodle. It's an enormous problem, but I believe, and I polled some experts in this, in recreational syntheticism. Oh, I cut that off accidentally. And they said they feel the future's padded well. You know, it's good padding, and they were not intrigued towards any dangers. So I think we found that together, using the 22 laws, we can tell if something's an adult or a child or dog. Final slide, please. Thank you. That is the end. And this space represents where we all go in the end, nowhere. Any
just
questions?
a few. Yeah, there's just a few that came in.
Thank you.
Number one is, what do you say to the accusations that you are creating synthetic children as a tax dodge? Everhungers wants to know.
All right. So I think right off the bat, what we've got here is a loaded question. To say an accusation makes it sound like it's something bad. The tax breaks that I get for the synthetic children that I have created are due to me, and I should have them. I think every person with children, whether synthetic or real, is owed those tax breaks, because I get roving gangs of children all the time banging on my door asking if my fake children can play, and that's scary, and I deserve money for that.
Great. Is Child Godzilla real?
I mean, obviously, Godzillas have babies. That's a dumb question and has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I said it was a Godzilla of a problem. I would like my audience to please keep up. But yes, obviously, Child Godzilla is real. That's where Godzilla comes from.
That makes sense. How did you meet John Lithgow?
Oh my God. So it was, I gotta say, 1995, and I was in Switzerland at a fair for eating pies, a savory pie fair. Every year they have it. They call it Dudenflüger, and at Dudenflüger we were eating this black bean pie. And I had my face buried in it, and I looked up and I said, "Is that John Lithgow?" And he had his mouth full of a banana cream pie, no sugar, and he said, "Yeah." And honestly, the rest is history.
All right, final question from Everhungers. Can synthetic children count as a quesadilla ingredient?
All right. Well, obviously, this is something near and dear to my heart. But I'm going to say this: if you put it between two tortillas, then yes, and it doesn't matter what it is.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Perhaps catch us some other time. We had a great time sharing the news with you. We hope you had a good time receiving the news. Thank you.